So, my own personal conservation ethic or valuation, um, you know, my values for conservation, it's kind of like a hard, it's not black and white, is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's definitely gray area because although I do believe that the utilitarian method of thinking about it, like that conservation ethic, I don't really think that it is a conservation ethic at all. Um, just because of the values that it holds. It's very, I think it can be very unsustainable in itself because, it's the whole tragedy of the commons. You use a resource for self interest, and ultimately it leads to a depletion in that resource. And you kind of look at, like the lecture in class about the Kenya Wildlife Services or Kenya Forest Services. Like those are both really good services put in place to help protect the forest in Kenya, but you look at it and you see that the more value something has for itself, the more indigenous it is, the higher the value. So, despite these services that are put in place and these methods that are used to protect it, it's still being used in to promote self-interest, for um, wood harvesting and to sell it. Despite these services that are put in place, the more value something has, the more value economically it's going to have. So that's kind of like that utilitarian aspect of it. And I honestly do think that we're essentially doomed as the result of total consumption of all Earth's resources. Because, I mean, obviously, there are conservation methods put in place that help us, slow down this rate of depletion. But overall, it's kind of just, the story of the tragedy of the commons. And um, I think the more value something has, the more people are still going to try and, make something out of it, turn it into wealth, turn it into profit. And, even the automotive and textile industries in the 1920s, um, that one river, it was once, they dumped all the toxic and polluted material into that river, and you saw how much they benefited. I hear that, despite these rules that are set in place, um, and fines that these big corporations are charged, they already have enough money to, find loopholes around it. And, they make so much money because of that depletion of resource or that destruction of the environment, that it's so minuscule in comparison to the profit that they're making. So overall, I do have hope, and that's why I got into this field. But overall, I don't personally support the utilitarian conservation method, and I do think that it is dooming us.